What's up, guys? This is Tim Trevathan with Tim Trevathan Homes. Another episode of what locals think about the area that they live. And today, you hear the jackhammer in the background. This is Midtown, right in the heart of Atlanta. And there's so much going on here. Got a good friend here, Tuan. How's it going, Tuan?
Going pretty well.
And he lives here, and we're off the balcony of his place, his condo here. And this is a high rise. There's so much to see from up here. But anyway, just gonna go dive right into Midtown. I mean, what brought you to Midtown to begin with?
I moved here from Nashville, and I wanted a place to live, of course. And Tim, unfortunately, he wasn't my realtor at the time because I didn't know him at the time. But I looked in different locations around Atlanta, like Vining, Smyrna, Peachtree City, that's pretty far, Duluth, etc. And I'm not married, and I feel the best location for me was, I should say, is really Midtown because it's close to everything. So that's why I chose Midtown.
Very nice, nice. And you moved from
Nashville.
Nashville.
Yes.
What is it like here compared to Nashville? Do you enjoy it here more?
I do enjoy Atlanta a lot more than Nashville because it's just a bigger city, and I realize myself, I'm more of a city folk kind of guy. I do enjoy the outdoors as well. But when I moved to Atlanta from Nashville, when I look at the comparison, Atlanta offers one of the world's busiest airports, and that's really key for me was the fact that I can travel. I love to travel, and if you're at the busiest airport in the world, you have access to cheaper tickets, direct flights, so anywhere you want to go to. So very big plus.
Might need a regional airport pretty soon, huh?
Perhaps.
So speaking of coming here, and your work also kind of brought you here, like, can you share a little bit about your work, and then like what are the job opportunities here? What makes Atlanta attractive for that?
Sure, absolutely. So Atlanta is really growing in the tech sector. So I work myself as something called a global digital product manager. So I work on developing global digital solutions around the world, but particular focus is really with the US. So you have, you can't really see it in the video, but Google's southern regional headquarters is actually in Midtown. Microsoft is here as well, and there's constantly, I think there's new companies moving in, particularly Fortune 500 companies such as Home Depot.
Nice, nice. Actually, one of my clients that lives in Suwanee, he works for Home Depot, works from home, and it's a very, very great company. So, well, what about this? You know, you're talking a little bit a while ago about like this things to do. What are some specific events, festivals, things to do? Like, yeah,
absolutely, Tim. So when you live in Midtown, you have access to like football games, basketball games, concerts that are constantly coming through Atlanta. And in Midtown, you're just Uber right away, so it's a huge benefit versus living farther away. You're talking about like a 10-minute versus like a 10-minute ride with no traffic, but versus like an hour even without any traffic if you live farther out. In terms of other things to do, I'm really close to the Beltline, which I do enjoy.
What is the Beltline? Tell us about the Beltline.
Sure. The Beltline is basically, it was started off as a project in college for, I forgot the individual's name, but they were using old railroad tracks and converting it into a walkable means of connecting different parts of the city. So where I live right now in Midtown, you're probably about a 15-minute walk to hit the Beltline. And on the Beltline, you have different opportunities to eat, meet up with friends, eat out at different restaurants. One of my favorite ice cream shops is actually on the Beltline. It's butter and cream, and you can walk to it. So
nice. I heard it's like 20 plus miles long. It's pretty long. Like.
Yeah, so they're trying to create the I believe a loop. So parts of Atlanta it's already completed. So the one in Midtown where I'm at, it's pretty complete, meaning it connects Piedmont Park to the rest of the Beltline. There's parts of it that's still being made today, but I don't know exactly when it's going to be done. So maybe Tim will follow up with an episode on the Beltline.
Totally. So I have to cover all the topics, the full gamut. The good and the bad. What about schools, would you say? You know, if somebody actually wanted to set up shop here, settle down, call this place their home. I mean, what if they got kids, it's a family, and they're looking at
So my answer is really depends. If you actually could afford like a house at Midtown, you can probably afford private schools. So the public schools aren't necessarily that great in Midtown, to be honest. But at the same time, if you were able to live in Midtown in a house, you can probably afford private school, and that's your answer.
Private school options, yeah, totally. Okay. What about somebody who's looking to move here? They've considered Atlanta before, or maybe this is their first time to see this video and they're learning about Atlanta and Midtown area. What would you say to them as far as a reason for them to come here and move? Like,
I would say it's a couple factors. First thing off the top of my mind, it's like affordable. If you look at the major cities like Chicago, New York, San Francisco, people are moving out of those locations because of simply affordability. Now that does make it harder for myself if I were to purchase a new home because prices are going up, but I think it's still a good time to move to Atlanta. Atlanta does offer an international airport, one of, if not the biggest for commercial direct flights. So I love to travel, and Atlanta offers great direct flights. And again, depends on the market, etc. It's more affordable because it's direct flights. I do love that part about it. It's relatively close to the beach. What I mean by that is, if you're in the heartland of America, you have to take a flight. In Atlanta, within a 5-hour drive, you can reach the beach. So particularly during the summertime, Memorial weekends, 4th of July, consider go to the Panhandle of Florida because of the white sandy beaches that's available. And if you do love the mountains too, we're close to the Smoky Mountains, so you can drive there too for the weekend trips.
Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, North Georgia, got Atlantic Ocean, Myrtle Beach, Tybee Island, St. Simon's Island.
Yeah.
South of here is the Florida Panhandle. And
correct.
You can even go down to Tampa, Miami too.
You can even go to Disney World.
Disney World,
You can drive down, it's approximately 7 hours, I think, or you just fly there directly, less than an hour and a half, I think. More or less.
I have to mention the west of here too. Like Alabama's where I'm from, so I moved here because it's still the South. You know, culturally it's relatively the same, but a lot more to do. When you say so, like just compared to neighboring states, and just
I would say so. It's just again, it's the fact that it's a bigger. Atlanta is a bigger city as a whole, but in terms of the state-wise, because we're connected to the ocean. Meaning on the east side as well as connecting through Florida, you have accessibility to everything.
How about some specific restaurants? Go.
Oh, sure. I particularly like this one restaurant in West Midtown, so it's about a 10-minute drive or 10-minute Uber drive. It's 8 Sushi Lounge. It's really wonderful sushi. It's a great place to take a date, as an example. And there's many other that's coming up constantly in West Midtown because Atlanta is definitely a growing city.
What's your take on the diversity here? Is it pretty diverse?
It's very diverse. So if you look at the population as a whole, in my case, like I really do enjoy Asian food. So when I left Nashville, there weren't too many locations for Asian food, but in Atlanta, there's tons of Asian food, in particular Vietnamese and Korean because the population is so big relative to the overall population.
Any closing remarks, particularly those that are looking to move here from out of state? Wherever they are in the nation, like what makes Atlanta the place to be, and not just be a transient place, but a place they could call home long term?
That's an excellent question. So first of all, I think it goes back towards job. Atlanta is growing. I forgot the exact percentage, the growth of job creation in Atlanta, but I think it's a great opportunity for jobs, some career advancement, and particularly now when we have remote work. I myself am a remote worker, and I think Atlanta, like everything I mentioned before, great opportunities, etc. But in terms of developing your roots in Atlanta, I think it's also a good opportunity too. The school systems. Private schools or public schools are pretty decent in terms of access to universities. Georgia Tech is here. In Atlanta itself, the state itself has University of Georgia, even though it's a private school, to my own alma mater. But I think overall, it's a pretty good state to live in and to have roots and develop friends like Tim.
That's great. Well, hey, if any of y'all have thought about moving to Atlanta, feel free to reach me, call, text, email, however you want to get a hold of me. Tuan's vouched for me that this is an awesome place to live.
Yep.
So yeah, if you have any questions too, leave a comment down below. Love to hear what you have to say. Thanks, Tuan. Appreciate it.
No problem, Tim. Take care.